The red light to record goes on, and now you're live. For many people, this can cause anxiety. They can freeze up or stumble with their words. This is the moment that counts. But how is it different than any other moment? I'm Russ Rapp, here right now bringing you new ways of seeing non-duality. And though technically this is not a live video, I'm just recording it on my cell phone. I'm going to upload it later to YouTube. In a sense, it is live. And I've done a live video before, but in this moment, I'm just speaking to you. Whatever comes out of my mouth is what happens. And I got the idea for making this video from another YouTube channel called Light on Earth, where she was talking about this idea of perception and seeing. And I think when it comes to the separate self, there's an anxiety over the idea of the infinite moment, the now, because it's something that you or I can't control. And so when you're in that moment, when the red light of, let's say you're recording in the studio, let's say you're a musician, the red light goes on, sometimes people fumble or make mistakes because there's this nervousness, like this is the moment where it has to, count, essentially. And so how to kind of deal with that loss of control, or that seeming loss of control, is to practice ahead of time. So if you're a musician, you play the song 100 times, or you sing it 100 times, you play it to the point where it's almost perfect. You got it down just exactly how you need to do it. And then you go on to record, and then even though you just played it 100 times before, you end up making a mistake. And so practicing will help you in that moment to do what you want to do and be successful. But, like in making this video here, I've thought about what I wanted to say, but without it being scripted and just reading from a teleprompter, whatever comes out of my mouth is what's going to happen. And so there's this kind of sense of uncomfortableness in that idea that whatever I say isn't necessarily going to come out of my mouth like my ego or my separate self wants it to. I may stutter or forget what I was going to say, or really not make a lot of sense. And so that is one way that the separate self will cope with this anxiety. Another way is in the moment, really making sure when you talk about consciousness or awareness, of really growing your awareness and in the moment, if I can be completely aware of everything, I'm not distracted with my mental chatter, and I'm focused on everything going on around me, that'll somehow keep me safe. And so there's this idea of becoming more and more mindful, because in the moment, if the more mindful you are, the safer you are. And so it's, in a sense, another way to try to control reality and the infinite. And then when it comes to time, the separate self wants to make sure that whatever happens, they have control of the result. And so that is, in this case, me making this video and this being probably the sixth take of this part of the video, because the first few takes I didn't really particularly like. And so that's one way of dealing with the idea of time. But another way is when you see people taking selfies for Instagram or whatever social media platform. They'll take about 100 selfies and they'll pick from their very favorite. And because that's one way to kind of control time, is to control what the results are. But in the moment, you really have no control over what that picture's going to look like, or what this take's going to be. And so when it comes to non-duality, there is no now and not now. It's just everything exists as it is. And so, the what you consider to be you, or this separate identity, gets uncomfortable with that. And so there's all sorts of ways. I mean, it's probably in numerous ways that you try to control reality because of this sense of being out of touch with the infinite. And so you create time, and because obviously when you look out into the world, there's things that are repeating, there's seasons, there's the sun up, the sun goes down. So in a sense, time exists in relation to you as a human being. But in another way, we're really creating time in a mental sense, because every single moment is what it is in this moment. And so the attempt to either control this level of awareness in the moment, or control what happens before leading up to this future moment that you're going to have, or erasing and controlling what happens after the moment and what happens in the past. That's just another way for the separate self to try to control reality. And essentially what it comes down to, and you'll never believe this because I don't believe it either, but you don't have any control over that. So the message of non-duality is just to say, you are forgiven, that you are loved, and no matter what happens in this moment, whether you practice a lot and you may make a mistake, or that mistake that you think you made that continues on throughout the past that you hold on to, you have no control over that. And so in a sense you do, and in a sense you don't. But to the one that I'm speaking to directly right now, the one that thinks that they exist, the you, the me, essentially, see, this is where I lose my train of thought. You don't have control over anything, but that's okay. That's the message. So if you can subscribe to my channel, and really what I want you to do, you can just send me a comment or a question or whatever, because I really enjoy going back and forth, and I don't get as many comments at this point as I'd like. So that's one way that I can connect with you directly, until maybe I'll start doing some live videos down the road, some actual live videos where you can kind of go back and forth. But in this moment, at this time, I'm just recording it. I'm going to upload it later. So please leave your comment. And until next time, peace.